Hey everybody, welcome back. You're here with me on Duffy's channel. That's me. We are doing the last inspection on the Ford 302. I just did a cool little short of just kind of cleaning it up a little bit. And what I did was basically I just wanted to get gasket material again off of the oil pan here, and then also here on the cylinders now. So what I'm going to do real quick, because I used carburetor cleaner, and if you do watch the short, this is about 30 seconds afterwards. So what you want to do instantly, because you did see me clean the deck and I also cleaned the cylinders, is you want to lube it with WD-40. This is, I have surface rust and it's literally been 30 seconds probably. So you want to make sure you get that coated with some oil. WD-40 is where it's at. So just go over with you know, if you did hit it with some carb cleaner, especially any type of degreaser, you'll see it'll change. It's going to happen right before your eyes. That's why you're always seeing me and talk about lubing the channels and everything up. Everything, any surface you can hit with WD-40, hit it up, because you're going to get surface rust. Look at all that orange rust that took off already. So let me spin it around once again. Just going to hit this real quick. This doesn't need it as much, but it will get there if you don't hit it with, you know, coat it with some type of oil. So some of you guys may have been like cringing watching that cleaning video, but don't worry. 30 seconds later, I'm gonna give it a very nice bath of WD, because that's where it's at. Don't worry, my entire garage also has a covering, so I don't think I'm gonna get any rust on my garage floor, because that baby is covered. So let's just knock this out real quick so we don't get surface rust. And in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is I just did you know, just eyeballed a once over on the crank bearing area in the block. Sorry, I'm just getting a lot of this loose stuff off, and I'm going to bring you closer so you can see what I'm talking about. I went in here where the camshaft is, and then here where the crank is. Cleaned up a lot of, because there's a lot of gasket material, and what we're going to do is put on the retainers here for the crankshaft. What I did is I spoke to a machine shop, was talking to him for a little while, and basically I'm here in Jersey, but I'm going to go to a machine shop in Pennsylvania. Sorry, whoops, let me zoom you out a little bit. And what he's essentially going to do is he's going to hot tank this, and I think it's Magnaflux, could be wrong, but he's going to check it for cracks and whatever they got to do to check this for cracks. But just very quickly, where you want to look at is essentially right down in here in your block. And I just did a visual inspection. Didn't see anything. You'd probably see something going on, maybe even behind this bearing. So you want to take these bearings and everything out to really check it out. But since I'm bringing it to the machine shop, I just wanted to eyeball it to make sure I didn't have anything visible. I can't see anything in the piston wells or anything like that, so the sleeves, everything, all the surfaces look okay. Camshaft down there looks fine. Wouldn't expect really anything going on down there. So all we're going to do today is, get you propped up here, is we're going to put the crankshaft retainers on And basically, I'm not even gonna clean it any further because I was gonna take it out and give it the degreaser bath. And man, I really thank you guys for messaging me on the channel. Feel free to tear me up. I've never done this before. I've been around engines for a long time, but it's my first experience really going this in depth with an engine. So there was a lot of guys saying different ways of disassembly, plus ways that you want to clean the block and prep the block before you bring it in and make a mess like I did. So it was just one of those things where I knew the thing was so filthy. I had a car parked in here kind of blocking it in, and I didn't want to go through that whole rigmarole of pushing out this car because it's not working right now. It's not, has a dead battery. So I didn't feel like dealing with all that just so I could take this out and power wash it. I was like, you know, let me get into this thing. I was too excited to just dive into it that I didn't degrease it and everything first. But anything you guys see, man, feel free to leave a comment because it's cool to interact with everybody and talk to you, some of you guys on Messenger. And I met two really cool guys that gave me some advice, and I spoke to a machine shop, some other guys that had their own personal shops. So you know, keep them coming, man. I appreciate that. So again, all we're gonna do today is we're just gonna get these surfaces back on. I'm gonna take this seal out, and there's other things too. Like I was talking about the like an oil pan gasket, and I was calling it a copper gasket, but of course I meant to say cork. You know, because I go back and I watch my own videos. So it's just kind of funny to see, you know, the stupid stuff that I'm doing in the middle of the night. I want to get this on in case he is going to get to the point where he could bore hone the block. So the steps are going to be essentially hot tank it, Magnaflux, I guess, to check for cracks. He's gonna measure the pistons, the galleries, and tell me if this thing has had any work done to it, all the wear. He said that's like a free charge for me, which is kind of cool. Man, I can't even get this rear gasket off. It's freaking in there. But if it does end up getting cleaned and everything checks out, and we can always, the pistons I'm not worried about at all because he's probably going to do those 30 over like everybody does, because it looks like it's a high mileage block just because of the wear on it. As far as just the cleanliness of it is crazy. So the pistons can always be changed out. They can always be ringed like you're going to do anyway, so I'm not concerned about that. But he is going to line hone it for the crank and the cam. And he did suggest another fellow friend of his that had a machine shop. I want to make sure that I'm doing this correctly because I have a feeling that I just put that one on backwards. Yes, I did put that one on backwards. This one goes here. Nope, this one's going to go here. I'm already messing this up. He has a friend in his town that actually balances cranks. So if your crank is out like 10 thousandths or something, he can get it very, very close. And it's not going to give you any performance or anything, but it'll give you longevity. And, you know, I'm going to cross that bridge with the crank when I get there because I want him to eyeball that as well just to see if it's even worth keeping the same crank or what kind of path I want to take if I want to stroke it 331, 347, which would be crazy because then that changes the whole game. These really have to be tapped down, seated in place correctly, which we're going to do here in a second. But yeah, that's basically gonna when we talk about the crank, give it a polish, maybe a balance. That'll have to go to another guy and then come back to his shop. So we'll take it from there, and after that we're going to discuss pistons, of course, the stroke, you know, where we're going to go with the crank if we're going to stroke it out. And then we're going to discuss. Oh, okay. Ooh, got nervous there for a second. It looked like this had a huge gouge in it, but it's just the seal. So I'm going to essentially just have him just do the block. We're not sending heads out because I'm going to buy the Edelbrock package. And that's going to essentially be the like baseline package. You get aluminum heads from Edelbrock. You get a camshaft. You get I think it comes with like a whole gasket kit, intake manifold, and all that. So they do have a couple different ones, and I'm going to wait on that purchase because, number one, I'm broke. Nobody's sponsored me or nothing, which would be nice. Hint, hint. You know, Summit or Harbor Freight or something. That'd be cool. Send me some stuff, man. I need some tools here. But we're gonna go with either the Performance RPM. But if I end up stroking the camshaft, we're gonna go with we'll go with what I was talking about originally, which was the Edelbrock air gap, and that'll probably change. It's going to change heads. It's going to change rockers and all that kind of stuff. I might even go with roller type rockers and all that good stuff, where you're really spending the big bucks. Because if we're going to go down that path, I might as well. Once you start stroking a motor out, you're spending all that money on the low end and the block and all the insane machining, because you're going to have to do that groove and all the piston wells for the clearance of the different stroke. Because if you just buy you can go on Summit all you want and buy a new crank and stroke it out to 331, 347, but as soon as you try to turn it over, you're going to hit your pistons. The galleries here are not clearanced for that, so as soon as you try to turn it over, you're going to go, oh shit. And also keep that in mind with your 289s, because they are not the same. There was just a guy with a 289, and I don't know if he bought a performance cam or not, but what he did essentially was purchase he purchased the crank for his 289, and it was labeled, which was very surprising. And I can't find the socket. Well, we're just going to snug them up, so let's use an adjustable. That doesn't have to be crazy. I just don't want them to go anywhere. He put that crank in his 289, and the pistons were coming out top of the deck. So just keep that in mind. Definitely do your research. There's so much that goes into it. It's just ridiculous, and you start spending money. And just from the first 10 videos or whatever that I had posted, I've learned an incredible amount. I've had my nose in engine books for a very long time, but I've never, once you experience it, and of course once you start opening up your wallet, you start talking to machine shops, it gets real, and you don't want to fuck it up. So do your research. Make sure what you're doing is all going to coalesce with your ultimate goal. Right now, I just want to get this thing back together. I just wanted to do like a refresh, essentially. And for the top end, you want it to breathe. I wanted to get away from that Holley 2-barrel. Let the thing breathe, and at the same time to purchase like a whole kit and be able to slap on, because you're at this point in the game, you have everything off. You might as well throw aluminum heads on there, come up to the 21st century, and let it breathe. And if I don't have to, I'm not going to go crazy on a race engine, because that's not my. I'm not going to do the girdle and all that stuff. You know, I probably will do the high flow oil pump, just because that's, again, bringing it up to the 21st century. But I'm not going to go crazy. I just want to get this thing back on the street, because I have so much work. You're probably going to see another 90 videos on the Mustang itself, but it all starts right here with the engine. So that's where we're going, guys. We're going to get this baby into the machine shop, and we're going to see if it's okay to proceed. Usually when he's done with all that, he may put the crank and pistons in for me. We'll see how it goes again. But I'll probably have him do freeze plugs and all that stuff for me as well, just because it's such like a simple thing. While it's there and while it's getting cleaned up, he could do like very minimal stuff that is not going to bother me, that I'm missing out on. So I'll have it back, and it'll be ready to do the top end and timing gears, water pump, starter, pulleys, distributor, the whole nine. So we still have a lot to go, guys. Thank you again for sticking around Duffy's channel, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy.